Hello, I'm Septime Webre, Artistic Director of the Hong Kong Ballet. Welcome. This is a really special conversation. The topic is Odette, Odile, and Me. And I'm joined by four really amazing ballerinas from really all over the world. Dorothée Gilbert at Etoile with the Paris Opera Ballet. Kondo, principal dancer with the Australian Ballet, originally from Japan. Yuanyuan, principal dancer with San Francisco Ballet, really beautiful Chinese ballerina originally from Shanghai. And Hong Kong Ballet's Ye Feifei, our principal dancer, beautiful ballerina. All four of them have a relationship with this very special ballet in our canon, Swan Lake. And we're talking about Swan Lake and our deep, dark secrets about tackling those amazing roles in the canon. Yuanyuan, I want to start with you. You've been a really big person in the ballet world, an important figure for so many years. Tell us about your first experience with Swan Lake and like how you prepared for the role and where you debuted. Was it as a professional dancer or did you have some relationship with the ballet as a student? Tell us about those early preparation and that first debut.
First debut, I did a second act, the full second act at the Shanghai Ballet School.
Yes.
When I was 16.
Okay.
It was a graduation program, so
sure.
I did it, and I was like, I just remember the things I was freaking out because my calf is always like pulled up, left calf, because on second act it's always everything's on the left. And then you are supporting legs, like you probably spend more than 10 minutes on the left side.
Wow.
You just try to hold it and then you develop it and everything's on the left.
I see all the ladies nodding. Is that true?
Yeah.
The left is all about the left.
It's the thing, isn't it? Also Black Swan is on the left.
Everything's on the
The
left.
whole ballet is on the left side.
Yeah.
Somehow,
So I did this second act.
And do you remember much about the
16.
coaching? Like, were you just a student without? So you didn't? Did you recognize how many ballerinas have tackled that role and the kind of historic weight, or were you just a 16-year-old that loved to dance and was doing what your teachers told you?
I just doing actually the teachers were taught to me, but I also, because I remember vividly that I saw Galina Ulanova doing it at Swan Lake when I was 5. That's bring me a dream to be like, oh my God, the tiara is so beautiful and the tutu is so beautiful. So then I have a ballet dream.
Sure.
And also my mom's dream to be a ballerina as well. And then, but she didn't get into the school because my grandfather didn't want her to. So she passed the dream on to me.
Yes.
Then I went in the school, but it wasn't like that beautiful. It was like hard training.
Sure, of
but
course.
somehow I survived to go through, and then I graduated when I was 16.
Well, great. Later we want to talk about the audition process for the school because I know it's probably pretty crazy. So you debuted the second act at age 16. Then talk about the debut as a professional dancer and dancing the whole ballet.
Yeah, I entered San Francisco Ballet when I was 18 as a soloist, and then I did full Swan Lake when I was 19.
Wow.
Got promoted to principal.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And at that time, were you just like having fun? You're 19, you feel like you can conquer the world? Or was it like as hard as they say?
Well, as hard as they say, but I just feel I was enjoying it.
Yes.
And I was having fun, and although it's very hard, very difficult, especially for the third act, the role, the character changes drastically.
Sure.
And to be like soft and nice and very vulnerable and to very sharp and like kind of like it'll give you like a little bit like electric.
Sure. Yeah. Everyone loves a ballet bitch. And Odile's like a ballet bitch.
Yeah.
I'm going to get back to that in a second. But I actually want to ask you, Dorothée, you're an Etoile with Paris Opera Ballet, the oldest ballet company in the world, and with the most amazing theater in the world. But you dance all over the world as a guest as well. But you actually told me earlier that you haven't actually danced the role that much. Because of the changing repertoire, can you talk about then premiering the role and returning to it less frequently than in some companies that do the ballet so frequently? What's your relationship like with the ballet, and what's it like to return after periods of time, and also without being in a company that has as much, I think one of the ways ballerinas learn how to interpret the role is by watching others around them, watching the ballet, being in the court of ballet and watching the principal dancers. Then suddenly you get to big swans or little swans, and then suddenly you get to do your first one at a random matinee on tour. I think that's how a lot of people learn to dance the role, but you have a different experience.
Yeah, for me, I have a relationship strange with this ballet because I was really afraid to do this ballet. Because when I dance a ballet, I have an idea of what I want to see as an audience. And for me, Swan Lake is beautiful with lots of arabesque and beautiful lines like Russian girls, you know.
Sure.
And I'm really not like that. I'm completely the opposite. So I was really afraid to do it because I was thinking my body is not going to give me what I want to show.
Sure.
And so when I work for it, when I dance it in Paris Opera in February, for the first time in Paris Opera,
sure.
So this year, at 35 years old, almost 36.
You are looking great for 35, 36. That skin is just radiant, girl.
So yes, and so I was thinking because of my experience also, perhaps I can give another thing. So I work a lot on the work of the arms,
sure.
Because I try to work on my qualities,
sure.
And try to forget what I can do, but to try to put in the front what I can do with my body.
Sure. Well, actually, you danced the second act pas de deux last night and the coda for our gala, and I disagree with you about your body because you were serving it up, and your arms are so long. Really, the arms were among the best part of the performance. Really, really gorgeous technically. What about the coaching at Paris Opera Ballet? How did you prepare? What were you given? Who was around you that helped you hone the interpretation, and what are your role models for the role?
In Paris Opera, we have a ballet master. We work with them, but I feel that they are much for the technical part, and artistically you have to show us something, and they will say, but they won't guide you.
Okay.
To a view,
sure.
of the character. So I watch a lot of video.
Sure.
And also, I don't know, the music gives me also the character, you know.
Sure.
Because the music is so beautiful in Act 2. When I was doing last night, I was thinking, what a beautiful music. And if you just listen to the music, I think you can feel the character. You don't
sure.
have really to think about it because it's right in the music.
Sure.
I feel.
It's interesting about character. I've been, because we're producing this international gala, but at the same time, we're also producing John Meehan's beautiful production of Swan Lake for 2 weeks, the Hong Kong Ballet. And so we're in it at the moment. And I've been thinking about this role of Odette Odile. It's so unlike any other role because actually it's not really a complete, neither role do we describe the complete life. In a way, they're both abstractions. Unlike a role like Giselle, where you're really a girl who has a journey. You're not telling a journey exactly. You're expressing a state of being. It seems to me. That's what I was thinking of last week. That as Odette, there's a backstory, but you're not going through like the storytelling of it, and then this happened. It's more like the prince. It's happening to the prince. You're this state of being. Do you feel like this? Does that resonate with you at all?
Yeah, it's resonates with me, and also this role in particular. In every role, we are human.
Yes.
We do. In the classical repertory.
Sure.
But this role, we have to be an animal.
Sure.
We have to be a swan.
And girl, you were an animal on stage last night.
Yeah, but you know, you have really to think about it when you dance it. You are not human. A little bit, you have half part of human. but half part of swan. In Paris Opera Noye version is like that.
Sure.
Because I know some versions are more swan and some versions are more human swan.
Sure.
So in Noye version it's really human swan. So you have to give to the audience this kind of, I don't know, different
Sure.
big difference between a human and the swan, and in your body you have to show them the swan.
Sure.
So you have to think about it, and it's not like all the other roles.
Sure.
Because Romeo, Giselle, Onegin, all the other roles, you are human.
Sure.
So
No, it's a very special.
you have a work to do to make them believe you are a swan.
Sure.
With your body of human.
Totally. Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful process. Ye Feifei, I want to ask you, I think of you as a really technical dancer. One of the things that's a joy for me to work with you, one of the reasons why it's a joy, is that you approach the work on a daily basis as being very serious about the technique. You're committed to a very high standard of technique, and you're an artist who also is really, really responsible to your body and to the athletic aspects of what we do. And you have high technical standards for yourself. I mean, it's impressive what you do. It's really impressive. And at the same time, you also, in your Swan Lake, bring a lot of emotion, particularly to the entrance of Act 2, the first time the audience sees Odette. Can you talk about, approaching Swan Lake? Do you approach it technically first? Dorothée mentioned about the technical feedback from the artistic staff. Talk about those two parts of it, of being ready technically and making sure your left calf is okay to endure the 2.5 hours of torture, but also making it an emotional story.
Actually, for me, at beginning to of Swan Lake, it's Black Swan.
Ah,
Yes.
I'm not surprised because the technique is all there.
Also because my teacher thinking, also me, I'm thinking same as what she say. Like for Act 2, I don't have the perfect line and everything for Act 2. So the beginning, when I do the full Swan Lake with this company, I was, how to say, actually I don't like Act 2. Yes, I don't like Act 2. When young, I was more like, I like to do Act 3 because
Sure.
I was thinking, in Act 3, you're not so like swan, you're more like also
Ballet
like
bitch.
human. Yeah, so like you're more like sharp and
Sure.
like evil. So also like the technique. So I feel like more confidence.
Sure.
I can do it. But for Act 2, I was like always fight with myself. Yeah, because I think I do have arabesque, but I think for Act 2, it's not only like the line and
Sure.
also how high your legs go, especially after like now my age. For now, I like more like Act 2.
Sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, I think this time I think the audience like even more like my Act 2
Sure.
better than my Act 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's interesting. I'd love to talk about that. Maybe Ako Kondo. Do you find that challenge of bringing, a distinction between the two characters? That's one of the most interesting things about watching Swan Lake is a ballerina who can really delineate dramatically how those two are different. Talk about that, and also talk about which of those roles you naturally gravitate to, and where the challenges lie for you.
I guess first time when I learned Odette and Odile, like that's why you had to think from the beginning the character, the difference between Odette and Odile, and for me, I found the Odile was easier, like Feifei. I was like, it's kind of like human side, not animal. And so I started with Black Swan, grand part of it to begin with. And But then same time, she has to be seducing prince, and she has to be fierce and completely opposite to Odette. So to make that contrast, but still related, like they are, same look, that black and white look I had to make. So that was quite hard. The technique thing, like I didn't need to worry about too much, but the character on top took quite a long time. And then after that, I was like, okay, let's move on to Odette. Let's bring something completely different, animal, Odette look, swan look. And I think what you said was so beautiful. I think the expression through her arms is everything for Odette. That's what I think. That's how you express who you are, and you're the Odette, swan, queen. So that took a long time, but I was really lucky. My ballet mistress, Fiona Tonkin,
Sure.
she used to be the principal dancer at the Australian Ballet, really worked with me for the rehearsal. Sometimes we just stood right in front of the mirror doing just arms.
Sure.
Or just looking, under the arms. How are you going to look with your eyes? And all those details are very important on stage. And I think, and once I got those two characters, that really helped me to get through the full-length ballet, because if you just think about technique in Swan Lake, I don't think you're going to get through. It's way too hard what you
Sure.
do. So being in the character and being in the moment really helped me.
Sure. So it's really about the character.
I think so, yeah.
Interesting. Yuanyuan, can you, so you had this early debut in Act 2 when you're 16, and then 19, suddenly a principal dancer at San Francisco Ballet. So you had a chance over time from 19 to the last time you danced Swan Lake. Talk about how your interpretation developed over time, and did it develop spontaneously on stage because we're all somewhat improvisational artists. We bring something special to the show, or did you actually change your point of view about the different characters, or change technical things how you approach things technically, or when you dance different versions? Like, how did it evolve over time?
So I think over the time I finally find, especially for the second act, because I love second act part of this, and I felt it's a dialogue and conversation. It's a violin and a cello, so it's a conversation between her and him.
Nice.
And she was saying, oh, and then just it shows in the music.
Sure.
And I sing when I dance. So that's
Out
something
loud?
I felt.
Do you sing out loud?
My partner probably can hear a little bit. It depends with who.
How about in
Also.
the shower? How about in the shower? Do you sing in the shower?
Yeah, that also I think fascinating for me.
Sure.
It's all of a sudden bring me to another level of
Sure.
dancing. That of course with live orchestra is even more.
Of course.
And
Of course.
for the third act, I always find think the eyes doing a lot of tricks, and
Sure.
also you can be very feminine, but towards the end it can be sharp in a little bit,
Sure,
a
yeah.
split second,
Sure.
and you just snap out of it.
Uh-huh.
And you cannot do that,
Sure, sure.
but you can use your
Sure.
swan things of the
And
swan.
how could you characterize the change of your swan from, say, age 19 to age 29, age 32, or what have you, over through the years? Did it change? Like, if someone saw you and then 10 years later saw you in the same role, was it deeper? Was it different? How was it changed?
I think it's just when I was young, I just danced as exactly a textbook. Then over the years, 20 years later, it's a human within an animal form.
Sure. Yeah,
It's I think we all grow over the time, so we all have stage experience, and especially with the company for so long. I did a lot of versions. I did also with Hong Kong Ballet version.
Yes.
And when you guys went to Grand Theatre,
yes.
Beijing, a
Yes.
while ago, so I did the
Sure.
Zhang Mian's version.
Yes.
And San Francisco Ballet have old version and new version
Yes.
as well. And I did with in Japan, different versions, and
Sure.
in Los Angeles, doing several different versions. So it's interesting journey, and
Sure.
I have to say this is the one of the top. If you pick top 4 ballets a ballerina needed to be executed.
Sure. What are the other 3 in your opinion?
I think Giselle, for sure.
I
Sleeping
agree.
Beauty.
I agree.
maybe another one it varies.
Sure.
Romeo?
Romeo.
Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. What about change for you? Talk either with Swan Lake or other roles. How does who your partner is change the experience of who you are as Odette Odile? You had last night the great honor of dancing with Marcelo Gomez. Stunning partner. I mean, I don't think there's a better partner. There are partners in the world who are as good, but no one better. Yeah. He's a top line and the nicest guy you ever met. Talk about the partnership in a ballet like Swan Lake or other ballets as well.
I think the partnership is everything. Because when you have a really good connection with your partner and when you are totally in trust with him, you can really have abandon. How you say abandon?
Yes, abundant.
Abandon. And when you have this abandon, it's where emotions are going out of you, you know?
Yes.
And the audience can feel it.
Sure.
So for me, it's the most important, and also in Act 2 of Swan Lake, I think, and Act 4, I think the most important is to have abandon with your partner.
Yeah.
And because Act 3, the difference is it's you who are in charge, and you pull the partner where you want him to go, because you make him believe you are White Swan.
Sure.
But in the second and the fourth, you just relax in the arm of your partner. So when you have a partner, when you can trust everything and you feel so connected, it's really important. And in all the other ballet where there is lots of interpretation, I think it's really important to have a big connection with the partner because if the connection is important, the audience can feel it, you know?
Sure.
If you just pretend to be in connection with your partner, it's not really true. And I think on stage you have to be true. If not, the audience can see everything.
I would agree with that. Feifei, I think because of the strength of your technique, that probably led you to initially say Act 3, let's go for it. Talk about the difference between dancing with a partner and a solo dancing. Odette, Odile, there's these amazing partnering. I mean, there's more, you're on stage partnering with the prince more than anything else. But you also have two really hard variations and a really hard coda. I think that Act 2 variation of Odette, it looks really hard. I mean, it's hard because everything's so exposed. I think even more than in Act 3, I think probably. And then, of course, the coda is so hard. Do you feel freer with a partner or without a partner and more secure? Talk about that.
Sorry, I would say it depends on the partner.
That's so true.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. Name names.
No.
Name names.
You're like closing.
If Marcelo's on one end of the spectrum, who's on the other end? But talk about because actually when you're doing a solo, you're in control completely. It's just you. But so there's something risky and also authoritative about that. But when you're with a partner like Yuanyuan, I've seen you dance solos and dance with partners. I rarely have I seen a ballerina take as many risks when you're with a partner as you do. It just you just like go for it, and that partner better know what he's doing because you're going to go for it, and you need someone who can run the way you run. Feifei, talk about the role of solo dancing, and do you feel like unencumbered by a guy, you can take it to the moon?
Mm-hmm. But for me, I have one. I don't know how to say it. I don't like to solo right away.
Oh.
Yeah, especially go on stage. I like to do pas de deux first.
Yes.
And then I think I'm more...
You're just using the guy to warm up. That's what pliés are for, girl.
Even in the studio, like when we have rehearsal, if I don't do pas de deux, I just right away do solo.
Yeah.
Definitely no good.
Oh, really?
Yes, the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, always after pas de deux, I don't need thinking about it. And also, I think you're already warm, and then sometimes even you're tired. But when you start solo, I feel it's more calm. Yeah, and also the partner thing, like what she said.
Depends on the guy.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That made me think about gender and gender roles, and being one of my favorite ballets is Balanchine Serenade, because it makes a statement about power of women who don't need a man to be fulfilled. And these amazing, powerful women, those tonleves, and it's just beauty. And then after some minutes, this harmony of this women's society is kind of interrupted by the entrance of the waltz boy. And it just made me think about the partner to warm up or whatnot. Ako, can you talk about being a ballerina? Is there a weight there of expectations of being a woman who's beautiful and cherished and idealized version of femininity, which has been inherited over hundreds of years? You know, the ballerina of the 19th century that was in the early 19th century that was fetishized, and all of those ballerinas that received jewels from the Tsar, etc. What does that have a place today? Is there any statement to be made about womanhood and being a ballerina in Odette Odile?
That's a hard question, I guess.
I didn't really think about the question before right now, so I didn't phrase it very well. But there's something there where, the gender stereotypes in Swan Lake. The man is this, the woman is this. They're idealized, and the real world, they're beautiful because there's something true about the ballet, but there are also some roles that are one way to be. And we know now in contemporary society, one thing we know is that there's lots of ways to be. So do you wrestle with that, or do you want to make your own individual statement?
I guess, because at the moment I'm doing Stanton with Sylvia.
Yes.
And he is bringing Sylvia as a strong warrior woman. So it's kind of, he's connected with the now generation statement that woman's equal to men. And I thought it was a really interesting way to approach. And so he asked all the Sylvia to be a very strong woman, almost representing who we are as a unite and And I think it's nice to have the spotlight on girls as well, not just ballet, but for the world. I think now everyone's talking about women, men equal and stuff like that. And, as you said, the 19th century, all the ballets are always women's the fragile, elegant, beautiful, and the men's the strong. But I think it's getting all mixed up, and the contemporary pieces sometimes genderless, roles are very interesting, and you never know what you're going to get. Like sometimes two guys dancing together. I think that's a very interesting way, and it's nice to see that kind of development in the ballet world now. Sure.
Actually, if we really consider Swan Lake, in fact, there is a statement about different ways women can be. You can be fully realized and show your fragile self that values love and values human frailty and human beauty. And you can also be a powerful woman who's in charge. And so there's, on a certain level, actually quite a complete woman is portrayed there. Which is kind of nice. Actually, any thoughts about Swan Lake's and classical ballet's role in today's society? That suggests a question that, we're classical artists. I think what happens for us, what our role is to present to the audience the ideal world. When the curtain goes up, we're on stage. We're younger than the audience. We're more beautiful than the audience. We're in better shape. We're thinner. We can jump higher. We can turn more. We're the superhuman. But we're not showing off. What we're doing is we're telling the audience, humans can be this superhuman. This is what the best world can look like. You can be your best selves because we're our best selves. I feel like that's one of the intrinsic metaphors of being a classical artist, is showing the world just as when you see the Parthenon, the design for this great architecture, where the architect is saying the world is harmonious, the world can be ordered and beautiful and logical and harmonious. So our presentation, what we're doing, sends that message. But I do sometimes think, what's ballet about? What does this story about a prince and a swan have to do with today's society? Does anyone want to give some thought about what we do and its importance in the world today?
I think just like, for example, yesterday, I think audience really enjoyed for almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Or like 2.5 hours here. And they are detached from the outside world,
Sure.
no matter what chaos happens.
Sure.
But for them, they're here enjoying 2.5 hours like a joy, pure joy, and see the beautiful things. And I think that's what we do the best.
Bringing joy and having people go to a place where they're reminded that the world is beautiful. Okay, that's a good thing.
And also they feel safe.
Sure.
Because they just enjoy and then
They forget
really
about everything.
forget about
Yeah,
everything.
forget about every bad idea they could have. in
Sure.
their
They
life
travel,
or-
they travel around the world because we're from different countries.
Different centuries.
Sure.
And different repertoires, and they
And
just
it's
like,
a universal language.
Yes.
You can go
That's
everywhere in
it.
the
Yeah.
world and tell a story to everybody with the same way, and everybody will understand.
Yeah.
So we're reminding people that the world is beautiful.
Yes.
And we're letting them remember the joyful parts of life, even if other parts of their life are crowded with other negative things. And as you say, Dorothée, we're providing a universal language. We're uniting. We're bringing families together,
Yeah.
one
like
show at a
that,
time.
And we tell a story.
Yeah.
It's like when you are with your child and you open a book and you just read a story to a child in her imagination. She can see all the things you are reading.
Yes.
And it's the same for ballet. You know, the audience come and just watch a story from the beginning to the end, and
Sure.
it's like a movie or like. But the language, like we were saying, is universal, so everybody can understand this story in every part of the world.
Fabulous.
And it's beautiful, I think.
So really quickly, Yuanyuan, what's next for you?
Going back to San Francisco, we have Diamonds to rehearse.
Gorgeous, one of my favorite ballets. Actually, we'll be dancing Jewels here in Hong Kong just in a few months, which is great.
And then we're going to premiere for the first time here in Hong Kong Ballet.
Yes, for
Nice.
premiere, it'll be good.
Great.
I think someone will be doing diamonds here too.
Wonderful.
Ye Feifei, what's next for you?
Septime's Gatsby.
Shameless plug. Great Gatsby in Shanghai. Come join us. Ako, what's next for you?
I'm gonna go back to Australia and then fly to Sydney straight away and then do Sylvia Nutcracker.
I'm looking forward. I will be seeing your closing night of Sylvia, and I'll be clapping loud.
Thank
All
you.
right. And Dorothée, what's next for you?
I'm going back to Paris and we'll do Raimonda.
Great. Really beautiful. A little
Big
slap.
ballet.
A little slap.
7 variations. Pas de 6 coda.
Are there 7?
7 variations.
You're kidding.
No, it's New Year version, you know, it's always very
Yes,
difficult.
that's always there's a lot of fast footwork and stuff. A lot of rondejambs. You like the rondejamb. He was the king of the rondejamb. It is such a pleasure and an honor to have this conversation and also to see you grace our stage. Really, thank you for being with us. Again, I'm Septime Weber, Artistic Director of Hong Kong Ballet. See you at the ballet soon. Thanks.